Oh, you believed that Chrissy and Jim were at last in a place. However, you were mistaken. Guys, what just came out is going to rock the entire world of hip-hop and love. Okay? And I assure you that you are not prepared for this. Chrissy Lampkin has been caught, and not just with anyone. Jim Jones is going crazy right now. And let's not forget that Chrissy and Jim have been together for more than 10 years. They've been through everything together. Chrissy has been having an affair behind Jim Jones' back, and the receipts. So honey are not pretty screenshots, lum messages, or even a video. This is the bit that has everyone talking. The man Chrissy was caught with isn't just any random guy. He's someone close to Jim. And when Jim finds out, it's going to get very quick. There have been infidelity scandals, financial difficulties, even the proposal drama. And now this. Oh honey, the fallout was explosive. Stay focused because the scandal that is about to happen will surpass the combined size of the previous 5 seasons of Love and Hip Hop. When you find out who Chrissy was caught with, you'll need to take a moment to relax, because those who have followed Chrissy and Jim Jones' turbulent relationship over the years are aware that they have experienced their share of drama, but is on a whole new level. Chrissy Lampkin and Jim Jones have been together for more than 16 years, which is practically a lifetime, and hung over their relationship. Let's not forget that Chrissy asked Jim to marry her on national television, and he accepted. However, years went by and Jim never actually got married. Yes, Chrissy stayed, but you can't deny that animosity grew over the years. Then there is Jim, who has never been loyal. Let's face it, Jim has been involved in more cheating rumors than we can count, including late-night hangouts with DMS's shady female friends in the studio, and those enigmatic business trips that coincided with Instagram. When this cheating scandal first surfaced on blogs, most people assumed it was just another Jim Jones case. But this time, Chrissy stayed by Jim's side despite all of the financial scandals, rumors of cheating, and even Jim's alleged financial difficulties. According to people close to the matter, Chrissy was the one who was creeping this time, not Jim. She has been seeing another man for months, and the proof is absolutely solid. It all began around 3 months ago when Chrissy was photographed visiting a posh hotel in Miami. Without GY, folks found it odd. But let's face it, Chrissy's solo travels aren't all that uncommon. However, after the photos began making the rounds, it was claimed that Chrissy was seen beside a pool with a man sitting quite near to her, just sitting close, but laughing, drinking, and enjoying. Many sources have corroborated that Chrissy was not simply hanging out with this man. Rather, they were holding hands, having drinks, and supposedly vanishing into a secluded place. At first, folks believed it might just be an innocent hangout, but then the real receipts started to come in. You have no idea that Chrissy and this mystery man were allegedly exchanging flirtatious texts for weeks. We're talking about emojis late at night and "I miss Cabana" together. The screenshots were then leaked, according to insiders, and these messages are scandalous. That these images leave nothing to the imagination. However, things get worse because Jim lost it when he learned, oh honey, seems that someone in Jim's circle obtained the screenshots and sent them directly to Jim. Was reportedly sitting at home when the messages arrived, and as soon as he saw them, he picked up the phone and began phoning Chrissy nonstop. When she didn't answer, Jim proceeded directly to Miami to face her face-to-face. Yes, you read correctly. Jim boarded a plane and arrived at the allegedly knocked on the door of the hotel where Chrissy was staying, and Chrissy opened it. Let's take a moment to acknowledge how absurd this situation is already. Jim has been caught lurking several times, but Chrissy has always forgiven him. Now that Chrissy has been caught, it's prepared to destroy the entire relationship. But it gets even messier because when Chrissy opened the door, Jim didn't just see her sitting by herself. The man she had been seen with was there too, according to sources. Jim confronted Chrissy and the unidentified man and informed you that things nearly got physical, so security had to be called. It was alleged that Jim began berating Chrissy, calling her a cheater and a liar. Chrissy, however, didn't dispute it. In fact, several sources have verified that she told Jim, "You did it to me for years now. You know how it is, feels." And Jim, was not prepared for that degree of disrespect, according to insiders. Jim attempted to pursue the mystery man, but security intervened before things became violent, and Chrissy simply stood there, seemingly unconcerned, while the entire situation played out. The real question, I don't know about you, but this problem hits a whole new level. Who is this mystery man? From what I've heard, it's not just any random guy. According to reports, this man is part of Jim's inner circle. Yes, the man Chrissy was seen with is supposedly one of Jim's business colleagues. Because if this man is connected to Jim's business, this could become more than just a romance scandal. It could become a serious legal problem. Jim O is already speaking with his lawyers, and insiders say that Jim intends to sever his relationship with this business partner right away. And if it means losing money, then so be it. However, this is the part that will blow your mind. It turns out that Chrissy and this man were spotted together before. Oh no, there are pictures of them hanging out that were taken months ago. And from what I've heard, Moses has those photos. The biggest scandal in the history of love and hip-hop. From what I understand, Maisie is going to reveal everything. So stay tuned, because in part 2, we'll uncover the identity of this mystery man, what he and Chrissy have been concealing, and how Jim is plotting retaliation. And believe me, you are not prepared for what is about to happen. All right, let's move on to the messy part, because this story is more than just a cheating scandal. No, it's becoming a major public embarrassment for Jim Jones, and the internet is dragging him for filth. Picking up where we left off, Jim had just confronted Chrissy and her mystery man at the Miami hotel. When I tell you that things quickly got out of hand, and according to several sources, it nearly turned violent. Jim lost it when he saw Chrissy standing there with this man, whom he believed to be his friend. Security had to intervene and physically separate them after Jim allegedly yelled, "You're dead to me," at the man Chrissy. But Chrissy just stood there with her arms crossed. That Jim approached the man, and when he didn't back down, it nearly went down in the hallway. The internet was ablaze with rumors about the identity of the mystery man when Jim was carried out of the hotel. And when the reality was revealed, it was worse than anybody could have imagined. It turns out that the man Chrissy was found with is none other than compared to Freddie G, Jim's longtime business partner and one of his closest friends. Freddie isn't just any old guy. He's been a part of Jim's inner circle for years. He's been seen at Jim's house, on family vacations with Jim and Chrissy, and at the studio with Jim. Not only did Chrissy betray Jim, but she did it with a man who had direct access to their business and their money, which is where things get dangerous. The worst part is that Freddie is not only Jim's business partner, but he is also reportedly one of the major investors in Jim and Chrissy's real estate ventures. Jim has already begun the process of ending his business partnership with Freddie. But it's not that, because it appears that Freddie was one of the main backers of a multi-million-dollar real estate deal that Jim and Chrissy had. This is because Jim is not only heartbroken, but also, according to insiders, responded when it was revealed that Chrissy was having an affair with his business partner. Twitter went off. Let me share some of the greatest responses. Chrissy truly pulled a Jim on Jim. The irony is that, after years of cheating, Chrissy finally got her lick back. Poetic justice. Jim Jones's tears over Chrissy's infidelity are hilarious, especially considering that he has been after her for 10 years. Chrissy just delivered it with a bow, and it's a bad B, *TCH. However, it wasn't just the fans who were getting messy. Celebrities also began to weigh in. One Love and Hip Hop star, as you may already know, left a shady comment under a blog post about the scandal, saying, "See? That's why you don't play with a woman's." Even Yandy Smith had something to say. And as you are already aware, Yandy and Chrissy have a complicated past. According to reports, Yandy went live on Instagram and said, "Maybe now Jim will understand how it feels to be on the other side." And if you think Jim took that well, oh baby, you don't. Heart karma always comes back. Jim reportedly called Yandi right after that remark, and let's just say that the conversation wasn't cordial. However, this is where things go from messy to downright scandalous, because it appears that Maisie has more receipts than the DMs. Yes, you thought the DMs were bad, but the video is worse, honey. It's worse, honey. A video of Chrissy and Freddie together at a private party appears to show Chrissy sitting on Freddie's lap, laughing and becoming extremely comfortable, according to people familiar with the matter. By together, I don't mean standing next to one another. Oh, it's a member of the Love and Hip Hop cast. This wasn't just any leak. Someone in their circle purposefully recorded it, and they've been holding onto it for weeks, waiting for the right time to release it. From what I've heard, Moses is aware of the exact identity of the person who recorded it. Jim will never be able to move on. The crazy part is that if Chrissy hadn't attempted to deny the affair, the video might not have even leaked yet. Apparently, Chrissy went live on Instagram after the original story broke and said, "I don't know why people, when there was video evidence available, Chrissy truly believed she could gaslight the entire internet. And Jim was furious when he saw that video." According to insiders, Jim texted Chrissy right after she went live, saying, "Me and Jim are solid. Don't believe the rumors, girl, solid." The worst part is that Chrissy didn't even attempt to dispute it in private. Instead, she answered, "I told you, you've been embarrassing me for years now. You know how it feels." In other words, Chrissy essentially acknowledged that she was doing this as retaliation for Jim's previous infidelity. According to rumors, Jim is planning to go full petty, which includes financially blocking Chrissy out. It appears that Jim owns several of their joint business accounts, and he is already working on this. Chrissy, however, is not about this. Chrissy is going down without a fight, according to sources, and if Jim tries to cut her off financially, she plans to sue him for both financial and emotional damages. Yes, you read, and the most bizarre part is that she has already hired a lawyer. They want to turn this mess into a plot, and hip-hop producers are already attempting to get Chrissy and Jim to sit down and discuss it on camera. Jim is thinking about it, but only if Chrissy comes clean on camera. If that happens, this will be the most watched episode of Love and Hip Hop, honey. The real question, though, is whether Jim will forgive Chrissy or if it is the last straw. In their relationship, stay tuned because part 3 will cover the fallout, the legal drama, the financial war, and the video that could permanently end Jim's career, and I assure you that you are not prepared for it. All right, let's move on to the messy part because this story is more than just a cheating scandal. Oh no, it's becoming a public humiliation for Jim Jones, and the internet is dragging him for filth. Let's continue where we left off, with Jim having just confronted Chrissy, and when Jim saw Chrissy standing there with this man, whom he believed to be his friend, he lost it. Apparently, Jim walked toward the man. And when I tell you that things swiftly escalated, oh baby, it nearly turned violent, according to many sources. They refused to back down, and it nearly ended there in the hallway. Security had to intervene and physically separate them, but not before Jim allegedly yelled, "You're dead to me," at Chrissy, who stood there with her arms crossed and showed no signs of bothering him. This is where things get messy. The internet erupted in conjecture about the identity of the mystery man after Jim was dragged out of the hotel. And when the truth was revealed, it was worse than anyone could have imagined. It turns out that the man Chrissy was caught with is actually Freddie G. Jim's longtime business partner and one of his closest friends. Yes, you read correctly, Freddie has been a part of Jim's inner circle for years. He has been with Jim and Chrissy on family vacations, at the studio with Jim, and even at Jim's house. But here's the thing, Freddie isn't just Jim's business partner. He's reported to have been a significant investor in Jim and Chrissy's real estate ventures. As a result, not only did Chrissy deceive Jim, but she did so with a man who had direct access to their money and business. This is where things go dangerously wrong, because Jim isn't just devastated, he's furious. According to insiders, Jim has already begun the process of ending his business relationship with Freddie. But that Freddie was a major investor in a multi-million-dollar real estate transaction that Jim and Chrissy had been working on. Yes, you read correctly. Money is involved in this mess, and Jim might lose everything if he tries to break up with Freddie. However, let's talk about how the internet responded when it was revealed that Chrissy was having an affair with Jim's business partner. Twitter went crazy, and I'll share some of the best responses with you. Poetic justice, Jim Jones's tears over Chrissy's infidelity are hilarious, considering that he has been pursuing her for 10 years. Karma is a bad bitch, and Chrissy just delivered it with a bow, but it's funny. Chrissy really pulled a GY on Jim. Not only were fans becoming unruly, but celebrities also began to weigh in. One Love and hip-hop star, as you may already be aware, wrote a dubious comment under a blog post about the scandal that read, "See, this is why you don't play with a woman's heart. Karma always comes back." Yandy Smith also had something to say, and it is already known that Yandy and Chrissy have a complex past. According to sources, Yandy said on Instagram Live, "Maybe now Jim will understand how it feels to be on the other side." If you believe Jim took offense, then you don't know Jim, because Jim reportedly called Yandy right after that remark. To put it mildly, that conversation wasn't cordial. But this is where things go from messy to downright scandalous, because it appears that Maisie has more receipts. Yes, you thought the DMs were awful, but according to people with knowledge of the matter, the video is worse. There's a video of Chrissy and Freddie, and Chrissy are shown in the video sitting on Freddie's lap, laughing and getting quite comfortable. The person who is a member of the Love and Hip Hop ensemble. When I say together, I don't mean standing next to each other. It was not a random leak. Rather, someone in their circle purposefully recorded it, and they have been holding on to it for weeks, waiting for the right time to release it. From what I understand, Maisie knows exactly who did it, and he allegedly confronted the person who did so, telling them that Jim would never recover from it. And here's the crazy part. If Chrissy hadn't attempted to deny the affair, the video might not have even leaked yet. Apparently, Chrissy went live on Instagram after the first story broke, saying, "Why are people always in my business?" and adding, "Jim and I are solid." Don't believe the rumors. Chrissy truly believed she could gaslight the entire internet using the video evidence that was available. And Jim was furious when he saw it. According to insiders, Jim texted Chrissy right after she went live, telling her to stop lying, knowing what she had done, but the worst part was yet to come. Chrissy reportedly responded, "I told you you've been embarrassing me for years. Now you know how it feels," without even attempting to deny it in private. In other words, Chrissy essentially acknowledged that she was doing this as retaliation for Jim's previous infidelity, and Jim is now reportedly out for blood because rumors are that Jim is preparing to go all petty, which includes financially cutting off Chrissy. That Jim has many of their joint business accounts, and Chrissy isn't going down without a fight. According to sources, Chrissy has already hired a lawyer. And she intends to sue Jim for emotional harm and monetary damages if he tries to cut her off financially. Yes, you read correctly. Chrissy is coming for Jim's bag. And the most bizarre part is that the Love and Hip Hop producers are already attempting to get Chrissy and Jim to sit down and discuss on camera. They want to make this mess into a plot, and Jim is thinking about it. However, only if Chrissy comes clean on camera will this be the most watched episode of Love and Hip Hop ever. The real question is, though, will Jim forgive Chrissy? Or is this the last nail in their coffin relationship? Pay attention, since in part 3 we are entering the fallout. The financial war, the legal drama, and the video that has the potential to ruin G's career and believe me, you're not prepared for what's next. What's next?